Hey, thanks to everyone who's watching this live and not John.
That's funny.
Yeah, no John this week. I guess he had to do a stream on today. Scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, oh my god, I can't remember what it is. Like
something,
incentives or whatever.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. No, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So John will be back next week. He would have been here, but yeah, scheduling conflicts. But what's new with you, Paul?
I'm going to a wedding next week, on Monday. But other than that,
on Monday?
Yeah, I got a wedding to go to on Monday.
Why would they pick Monday?
I'm guessing it's probably like the best time they could get it.
Or just like way cheaper than the weekend?
Probably both. Both those reasons, I would assume.
Do you have like a role? Are you a special person at the wedding?
No, just showing up and hanging out and all that sort of thing. And it's only in Edmonton, so like it's just going to be probably a day and a half trip, depending on how late I stay. So not too bad, honestly, all things considered. But
right on.
I feel like there was a show or something I wanted to talk to you about, or a movie, but I don't remember what it is right now anymore. So I guess it wasn't that important.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. What about you?
I bought a new TV today.
Oh, okay. Just today?
Just today. I just saw that there was like a sale on.
Oh,
my parameters, what I was looking for. It's not bigger than my last one. My last one was 65. This one's also 65. I'll go bigger eventually, but once you start to get to, like around the 65 range, the increases in size jump pretty dramatically, and then the price jumps pretty dramatically as well.
Sure. Yeah.
I just didn't want to go smaller than 65. So, but what I was looking for was I wanted it to be like one of the OLEDs, because there's so many different like OLED ones now. The one I got is a QLED. I don't know. It's an OLED adjacent, and I wanted 120 hertz refresh rate.
Sure.
Because I had never been that annoyed at refresh rate stuff until I got my last 65 inch, and because the screen or the panel is just so big, I was seeing like the jittery because it had to move so much.
Yeah.
So my pro tip out there is once you get to 65, you got to get 120.
Yeah. So a little bit of ghosting every now and then, like when you would watch.
Yeah, like it almost would look like, you're streaming off Netflix, but the connection's not great, so it's a little chunky. Like it would look basically like that. And whenever there was like fast motion or things where a lot of stuff was moving at once, it would just not know what to do exactly, and it drove me up the wall.
Sure. Yeah.
So those were the two things I wanted. Some nice to haves, 4 HDMI ports.
Okay. Yep, that's good. How many did your other TV have, or does your other TV have?
3.
Man, you're living large though. You know how many I have? I have 2. I have 2 on my TV.
Wow. See, 3 is the bare minimum I can do because Xbox, PlayStation, Switch.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
And then I have a sound bar that I used to be plugging it into through the optical cord, but then I switched it over to do the eARC HDMI thing, and I went down that whole rabbit hole. The annoying thing about that though is, as I needed to have one of the consoles pass through the sound bar if I wanted it to still be plugged in with it. That way I wasn't like unplugging stuff to plug it back in. The sound bar can't pass through like 4K. It can't pass through HDR. My only option was, thank God the Switch is so old and shitty. It doesn't have any of those features, so I can pass that through and I'm not missing out. However, whenever Nintendo upgrades, then I'm going to be a little hooped. I'm going to have to figure out what to do. Luckily, though, my new one has 4. So
okay. Yeah.
Everything gets 1. The soundbar gets its own. I'm good.
Yep. That's good. Cool.
You with 2, man, I don't know how you do it. I guess you don't have an Xbox, so you don't need to contend with that one.
I do have an Xbox and a PS5, but I don't play them out there. I usually do them in here because I do everything in here. And when I'm in my living room, it's basically to hang out away from gaming and like watch movies and TV shows and just kind of be present with the girlfriend. In here, it's like I'm going to completely, you're not sitting beside me, so I don't feel like I'm ignoring you. I'm in my world, sort of thing. I don't have to worry about anything.
Okay. All right.
But I do have like one HDMI, that cord that's just kind of sitting there plugged in. So if I want to move one of these consoles out there, it just takes like a second to plug it into the wall essentially, and then it's ready to go.
Okay.
But it's rare that I do that.
Whereas I'm over here thinking like, should I devote the Series S that I have to be just a like dedicated Rock Band 4 box and just move everything onto that? And then I need to plug another thing in. That's the other thing, is I have the 360 out there from when I fell down that rabbit hole of Guitar Hero stuff, and I haven't finished going through all of them, so it's still sitting there, but it doesn't get its own port because that's like a once a year.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
For sure. Yeah. But maybe now it will. But maybe now your once a year port will always.
Well, no, because they're all filled up. Like I said, the sound bar's using that fourth one. So, anyways, I got all the things I wanted for it, and it was on sale. Now I'm just in the process of trying to sell the old TV for a few $100 just to get it out of here, make a little bit of the money back. So I'm asking some friends because I'd rather give it cheap to some friends. If no one's interested, I'll jack the price up and sell it to a rando on Facebook Marketplace.
Totally. Yep. That's the way to do it for sure.
Yeah. So, but it looks so nice. Oh, it's so nice. And the colors, it does 4K at 120. Oh,
yeah.
It looks so good. Holy smokes. It looks so nice. The color, I'm a big fan. If anyone's wanting to look it up, I don't have the exact brand. Samsung Q70 something, and I know that's not going to help because there's like a million of those.
Yeah.
There's a 2023 one. Anyway, I like it. It's good. So I'm going to be using that a lot this weekend.
Nice. Cool.
Did any of that jog your memory of what you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay. Well, then let's just do the podcast.
Okay.
This is the Top Down Perspective, September 14th. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
And what have you been playing, Paul?
I've been kind of just jumping around between everything because it's that time of year where everything is out. So you and I will discuss.
But none of the things that are out are on your list.
Right, because like I'll talk with you about your stuff, except for one that I have no idea about. The one I'll bring up this week is Eternights, because that came out this week. That is an anime dating game that has a kind of Persona, very Persona-esque dungeon crawling thing with hack and slash combat. So now that all those
this
buzzwords...
was at Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
I don't think it was like super popular.
Yeah,
I didn't. Not many people were like talking about it.
Yes, and I don't think a lot of people will be. It is pretty janky. It is made by, I think, one guy who, as he puts it, quit his job 3 years ago and just like made a game, and that's what this thing is. Obviously, it's out on PlayStation, so he got some funding from, like, I'm guessing them to like optimize for their consoles or whatever. And it's out on PC as well. I think it's only... It's
got very positive on Steam, so people seem to like it.
It is... So here's the problem with it, right? In a year of 8 to 10 out of 10 games every week, this is a solid 6 or 7, which means it's good. Like, it's fun. I'm enjoying my time with it. But, like, people aren't going to be talking about it. Like, people are not going to be talking about this game.
I really do wonder, like, when you put a release date of, like, September 11th, I'm just going off the Steam one here.
Yeah.
First off, are you thinking, like, oh, man, 9/11?
I mean, I'm sure
no. But then second off, you're like, God, there's so much coming out. Like, what am I doing to myself? Like, and I'm curious, like, I don't obviously know this person's financial situation. Would they even been able to delay it, or did they like need to start bringing funds in?
Yeah,
it seems like they self-published it, so it's not like they were having like publisher stuff. But we've been talking in the past couple of weeks of different games getting delayed and whatnot, and it's just like, why would anyone come out
at this time?
To be fair, why would anyone come out in any fall? Fall is always packed. This year especially, but fall is always packed game time.
The only thing I could assume is that because it came out on PlayStation 4 and 5, there probably was a deal signed that he needed to follow up through. I'm guessing for like a time period or whatever. Because a lot of this game is very indie. It's janky in the way indie games are janky, where like you can see what they're trying to do, and other games have done the similar stuff. Even in just like the menuing feels a little off. Like everything's just not tight enough like a AAA would be, but it's fine because the gameplay loop is fun enough. It's basically Persona Lite, where you have a group of mostly girls. I think there's one dude later on that you can romance essentially, or date or whatever. And as your relationship or bond with them increases, they give you specific elements and power-ups to you, like fighting or whatever. So there are certain enemies in the game that require certain elements that you can like break their barrier off of them or whatever, and then you can attack them normally, otherwise they take no damage. So like one girl will be like the fire element, one will be like a lightning element, etc. or whatever, and you can increase the power of the element that they give you, but they'll also give you some bonuses, like you can now unlock the ability to do like a little sword AoE thing around you, or just straight up the stinger, the like dashing sword attack from Devil May Cry is like one of the first ones that when you're at a level 1 bond with the first girl unlocks for you. So it has that, like, in between, you go into a dungeon because there's a story thing that has to happen, but you might be a little too weak for it, so you have 5 to 10 days or something before that you can just do whatever and hang out with your crew, and in that time you can choose somebody to hang out with and get to know them better and to rank up your bond with them so that you get stronger, or to go out in the city to scavenge, because this is an apocalyptic setting or whatever, for items for them, which will give you the basically in-game currency to level up certain stats of yours and stuff. It's like a pretty solid gameplay loop that games have been doing forever, and it's nothing new, but it's fun. It's a super like short version Persona type gameplay loop. This game apparently is like 10 hours long, all in, and that is like what 100 hours at least shorter than any Persona game. So
this is making me think of Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah, kind of, but definitely more less roguelite-y feeling, less top down. It is like a third person hack and slash action game in the way it plays. Yeah, but it's totally fun. It's $30. It's a discount game. Like, it's a budget priced game. Yeah. If you like anime type stuff and you kind of like the like getting a crew together and like strengthening your bonds with them or whatever, I think it's worth it. The story's been interesting enough. I like the writing. The writing is fun in the way that like these kids actually, what was it that we were talking about where I think you were saying like, I just like that they're written like kids or whatever, just making jokes while like this terrible...
That was Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. There's a similar vibe going on here where it's like, they're definitely like 17, 18-year-olds or like young adults or whatever. So they're making just stupid like conversations sometimes, or like weird, like kind of perverted remarks or whatever. It's fun. It's just a fun little game that I think is going to be overlooked by many people, but I don't think deserves to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of it for me. I have been waiting all week to talk to you about Lies of P.
Sure.
Because I'm a little surprised that you seem really, really into Lies of P. So let's discuss that.
I am. It's some like behind the curtain stuff. Like I'm pulling up the like the embargo stuff, because this one has such a weird embargo. So if people want to just kind of see some like behind the scenes kind of stuff, I'll tell you like what I can and can't talk about.
Well, how far
so
into
they have
it
it like split up. They have it like split up into 3 chunks. The first one, which was the media review embargo, that went up on Wednesday. So that included, so I can talk about any impressions.
Yeah.
I can do assets, videos, and live streams.
Okay. Yeah.
But then tomorrow morning is when the influencer creator content embargo, which includes social media, which I don't even understand what that really means.
Huh.
And then on Tuesday is when the guide or wiki embargo goes up.
Oh,
so that one, that one makes a bit of sense. Like, I can't publish guides.
Right. But you can get it ready for whenever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can do everything as long as it's not public. That's that makes total sense. But like, I don't understand like how the impressions one and then the social media one are very different. And then hang on, there was like an update. Oh, that was just. Oh, they moved the guides one up to tomorrow. The general gameplay video, live stream, wiki, and guides is now tomorrow. Until then, videos in the form of review impressions are still okay to post.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, so as long as I'm not like live streaming it, I guess.
But even then, like the demo they released originally was like 3 hours of the beginning of the game. So
okay. Where does that end?
It ends, so you get to the hotel, you talk to I can't remember the dude or whatever in the hotel, and then like a little bit after, I think it ends at the like cop fight or whatever. There's like a robot cop that's like on a clock tower that jumps down or something.
Yeah. Okay. I'm past that. The one with where he jumps down from the clock tower, is that the first time you can summon in somebody?
I don't know, because I only played the demo and I don't summon on my first playthroughs anyway, so I have no idea, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
All right. I think that was the first one where you could summon someone in. That fight actually ended up being like surprisingly easy for me, which was pretty cool. I'm at the second fight where you can summon someone in, and that one sucks.
Oh.
Because
okay.
That one is like a fire boss, and he does a lot of kind of not exactly like area of effect attacks. He has like a big fire area of effect attack, but he also does a lot of like spin attacks. So if you kind of like attack him from either side, he'll hit you both.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The person you summon in, I just don't think they know how to block. Or they don't care to block. They don't care to dodge. They're literally just like, I'm going to run at that thing and just nonstop attack. And it's like, dude, you can't do that with this guy. He lights people on fire, and then you can't heal, and you constantly lose health. You need to hang back a little bit.
Classic. Yep. Classic AI companion.
Yeah, it was fine against the cop one, because we were I saw him just running at him, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're just doing this. And it took me like 2 tries, because I was just like, I'm going to attack as much as I can, and it worked.
Yeah.
This other guy, though, holy smokes.
Needs to chill a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think like how far after that thing it is. It's definitely like another quote unquote dungeon.
Yeah, like
go through
a whole like.
I'm just wondering if there's like one in between there or not. It's hard to remember, because a lot of these areas kind of look very similar.
Yeah, sure.
Not like going outside and stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I do really miss that I can't play this co-op. I think most Souls-like games I've played have had co-op, and it's really fun going through those with a buddy.
People can correct me if I'm wrong, but every official Souls game you can play co-op, I believe. Every FromSoft Souls game.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one doesn't have that. And this one's also very parry heavy, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm so bad at the parry.
Okay. Yeah.
And you kind of really need to do it, because the enemy, the bosses specifically, will attack so quickly that you don't have time to dodge and then keep dodging all their attacks. You need to stand there and perfect hit block each one of them to even have a chance to like get some attacks in the other way.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it looks really nice. I like the environment and the area they've set up, and the like all the nods kind of following the Pinocchio stuff are fun. Like
Jiminy Cricket.
From the demo when you get so Jiminy is like a little robot companion.
Yeah.
If you did the demo, when you get to the hotel, you have to lie and say you're a human to be let in. So there's even like an aspect of telling the truth and stuff. I'm curious how that will like come back at the end or whatever.
I was going to say the same thing. I'm interested to see if there's going to be like truth only playthrough 100% or whatever. Like
I don't know. I've only had like 2 questions asked to me. One is to get into that hotel, which you need to get into that hotel. So,
but I'm wondering if you lie, if it just means you have to like find another way in. You have to sneak in instead or something. Like I'm wondering if because I also lied.
Well,
so I don't know. Honestly,
yeah, I don't know either, because that hotel is like your home base.
Yes,
to put it in like Elden Ring terms,
it's your hub.
Like
yeah,
It's the hub. So you need to go in there, and everyone in there is like a friend, and also they know you're a puppet. So for those who
Yeah.
don't know the kind of lore that's happening in this world is Geppetto created animatronics, puppets, to help society, but then they all revolted
Yeah.
and murdered most of society. So that you end up in this place of like the humans are being like chased and hunted down. For some reason, you're fine, even though you are a puppet, but you're also like a very good puppet, so you can like pass as a human. Because you're able to tell lies. That's one of the things puppets can't do, and you also just like look human visually. Um, and so the humans, the you kind of side with are like, can you try and bring this guy back? Last time we saw him, he went down in the sewers, and that place was overrun with puppets. So you need to go down there and fight through the sewers and
Yeah.
find the guy and whatnot, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, so you definitely need to be able to come into that hotel. There was one other one. It was maybe the closest thing to a side quest I did, and I chose to tell her the truth. There's a woman who's like, "Can you find my baby?" And you end up finding like a destroyed baby doll, and their game's like, through like Gemini and stuff. It's like, oh man, this must have been the baby. Okay, let's bring her back, and you can like present it to her, and she's like, oh, thank you so much. Look how beautiful it is, and you can say like, yeah, it looks great, or you can be like, lady, that's a doll.
Yeah, you're being crazy. Stop being crazy.
So I said that to her because I was like, well, let's see what happens, and she's like, what? No. Anyway, thank you. And she gave me a reward. And I'm wondering if I lied, would she have given me like a better reward? Like, I don't know. I told her
Oh,
the truth, and it didn't really do much.
sure.
I
Yeah.
don't know. So I've only had I've only had like 2 questions presented to me, so we'll see.
So has this made you want to play some of the other, like, this game is essentially Bloodborne, only like less cosmic horror, I guess is the way I'll put it.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm also pretty much every time I'm getting to a boss, I'm hitting this wall of, oh, hey, you either need to like get good, which I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm really bad at this parry mechanic. Or I can run around the same 2 hallways grinding these guys to get stronger. Because unlike Elden Ring, I can't just go do something else. There's
Right.
nothing else to do.
Right.
I've explored this one area. There was only so many areas to explore, only so many hallways to explore. And like, sure, there are some like kind of like sub bosses throughout the areas. They don't respawn, which is good because I wouldn't want to fight them over and over again.
Yeah.
But even if you were just like, hey, they gave me a bunch of experience, I wish I could fight them over and over again to grind faster. No, they don't exist. So it's just I could kill these 3 guys over and over and over again until I'm like strong enough.
Yeah.
That I think that gameplay loop sucks. That's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no fun. One thing I was going to ask you too, depending on how far you got, is the demo kind of okay. The demo where it ends, you can kind of start doing stuff with the weapon system and like taking apart the handle and the head and like mix and matching or whatever. But the demo doesn't give you any reason to, because it gives you like a finesse, like a dexterity type weapon, and like strength, like a heavy weapon or whatever. And then mixing and matching those two just means that you're making a piece of shit that isn't good at like being a dex weapon or a strength weapon now. So I'm wondering if maybe you got to a point where you had more options of like handles you could switch out or whatever.
Yeah, every time you get a new weapon, it's made of 2 components. And then so you can mix and match them, and each component will kind of lean towards, like you said, it's weird beeping coming out of outside.
Okay. I heard that. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I think that's someone's like backup with their car.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
and so like you said, yeah, there's like dexterity versus I think it's like advanced and technique, or maybe like the 3. And based on which way you've like spec'd your character, which I've been going pretty heavy into just like my dexterity and my strength.
Yeah.
Is I'm leaning towards weapons that do that. However, you can also get upgrading components that will change the components to be what you want. But the reason you would want to switch them up is they each have different super attacks tied to them.
Right. True.
So not only does the regular attack and the heavy attack change, but if you, I don't know, once you've like done enough damage, there's like a meter that fills up. and then you can do like a super attack with that. So if there's one that you really like, you can equip it there, and then it's like, but I really wish it was doing, this kind of damage. Okay, well, I'm gonna get the handle for that, so you can kind of mix and match that way.
Right. Okay.
So far, I've pretty much stayed with the standard weapon, just because it's like the strongest one that isn't like a heavy weapon.
Right. Okay.
It's also got a nice amount of reach. I have switched out the handle though, so that it changed up my heavy attack, just because I liked that more, and because it went more towards like the build I was going for.
Right.
So that's how I've been doing that so far. And then the other thing that you can mix and match with is your left arm, which is on the left trigger.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is what the demo had, because this is what you start with. You just have like a punch.
I think you can upgrade it to a cannon or
hook.
something. Oh, grappling hook. Yes, that's what it was. You're right.
Yeah, it's not an upgrade. You just unlock. Here's now a grappling hook, and you swap it.
Yeah.
And then I have one after that, which is like an electric blast I can do kind of right in front of me.
Okay. Cool.
I haven't come across anything that's like a long-ranged attack, because that would be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
The closest was the grappling hook, which is kind of fun when you're fighting small enemies, because you just yank them over to you. And what's also really nice about that is because a lot of enemies, as you know, in a Souls-like, are just like hiding around the corner, and they're like waiting for you to like attack somebody. So it's like you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And you rip them over here, and then they're like stunned for a brief second, so you can get a combo in. So the grappling hook's pretty good, but I've been liking the electric blast a lot, because it actually does damage to bosses, whereas the grappling hook doesn't do anything to bosses besides a very little bit of damage.
Right.
I haven't come across a boss yet where it's like, oh, this one's designed that if you like grapple it at this moment, it'll like open it up. Maybe that's later on. I haven't seen it yet though. Nothing is like pointed its way towards that. But
that'd be cool.
It is also a Souls-like game where maybe they just won't tell me, and I'm going to find that out in a guide that people are writing right now on Monday or Friday, I guess is what I said earlier.
Yeah. I don't remember for sure, but I feel like I figured out way too late that there was something you could do for that first boss, the like ringleader guy in the like town square or something. The guy with the hat. I feel like there was something that I found out way too late. It's like, oh, if you do this, it like fucks him up for like 2 or 3 seconds or something. But I don't think it had to do with that. I think it was something else. So I'm sure that's there.
Yeah, there are just ones like you can break their stance.
Yeah.
Every boss has that, and then you get to do like a super knock on them, which is nice.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's like some secret techniques for them, because this fire guy is really kicking my ass, and I don't want to grind these 4 dudes in a circle over and over again.
Was it I was just watching a little bit of video. Was it like a dude in like a ballroom with giant arms that are like hoses or something? Is that the boss you're talking about?
This is like a kind of like a boiler room looking thing.
Boiler room. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's Lies of P. So it comes out, I think, officially tomorrow, and it's on Game Pass.
I don't think it comes out on Game Pass until next week, though. But yes, I think it's...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm waiting for it on Game Pass, and I think it's the 18th it comes out or something like that.
Oh, okay.
A little late.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So other games I played, I want to say that I finished Goodbye Volcano High this week. I really enjoyed that visual novel. I think the performances and the voice acting is really good, and there's just a pretty like nice level of animation to these. You don't see this a lot when it comes to like 2D visual novels. Usually it's a lot more like kind of static characters that will maybe like one frame change to like an emotion or a reaction, whereas these ones, the characters are emoting as they go through their sentences. So as someone who plays a lot of visual novels, I'm often like button pressing past the sentences because I can read faster than the voice acting.
Right.
This one is like fully voice acted, but I like didn't want to do that because then I was missing out on like them animating and like seeing how they were like delivering the lines and seeing the characters wince and stuff. And like, I think it's just like a really solid visual novel if you're a fan of that genre. And the rhythm aspect of it is fun too. It's very easy, but it just has good music, which is pretty important for like a game about being in a band. And like you said before, these are like 18-year-old teenagers. I think they write them really good in this as well. So I think this is a pretty good visual novel.
How long is it roughly, did you say?
Like 5 hours.
Oh, okay. That's pretty short. Yeah, that's pretty short.
They did patch the trophies, so now I have like
All of them?
basically a hole. Now I have like a hole in my
Oh,
like trophy list where I missed like finishing chapter 2 and 3 and like not getting the first time you unlocked this, first time you got this. I just don't have those, and it's like, oh, you completed chapter 1 and then 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
oh man. Weird.
Unfortunately they weren't retroactive, which was a
Yeah,
bummer. And the last thing is I continue to play Starfield.
sure. Any new thoughts on that one?
I'm still liking it. I've pretty much decided I'm going shotguns for all time.
Okay.
Um, I'm liking the stories quite a bit. I haven't been doing a ton of the main quest because the main quest is kind of just like a bit of a fetch quest, it seems like at the moment. But the faction quests have been really good. I just finished the UC Vanguard one. That was like a really long side faction quest that I thought was very enjoyable, and the final battle was really cool.
I hear that's kind of the one that like you should do right away because people are saying that's
You
one
get
of the
access to it
standouts.
right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed my time with that one for sure, and so I just finished it. I think I'm gonna start doing like the second faction, their side quest next.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that game. I'm liking the characters. It's good. I think I'm about 24 hours into it, so I'm definitely gonna continue with that. And what about you? We're gonna go back to it?
I did go back to it for a bit. I just don't like it. It's not what I want right now. It's every time I play it, I get annoyed. So I'm gonna put it out. I'm just gonna leave it for now until I have kind of a lull in my gaming, and then I'll probably find a new appreciation for it. I really wanted just like the No Man's Sky thing of going on and off planets and kind of feeling like it's open, and it's not that. And like that's fine, but it's pissing me off every time. When I'm on a planet doing a thing, it's fine usually, and I'm having a decent amount of time, even though the encumbrance is terrible and that menu is absolutely god awful. But whatever, it's Bethesda. I don't.
You just stop picking stuff up. Like the only thing I pick up nowadays is ammo, which has no mass for some reason, which is good, and med packs.
They kind of like. It's interesting because if you scan like a room, you'll see like maybe 50 things you can pick up, but there's like one chest or something where the coloring makes it pop out a little bit more, and that's, I think, their visual cue of this is the thing you should be caring about in this room. Don't care about the spoons or whatever. Like,
I don't even know about that because there's plenty of times where I'll see like the color indicator to be like, hey, this is a rare item, and it's like, this is a helmet that's worse than my helmet.
oh,
I don't know that for sure because there's no way to like compare.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer, like, because you'll find like rare or unique guns, and I'm like, is this better than the one I have equipped? There's no way to see about that until it's in your inventory.
Yeah.
Don't pick it up. It's not worth it. Find a gun you like, stick with it. That's all I do. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Every now and then, like, I'm sure there are better weapons that I'm just missing, but I got some really good weapons from doing some of the side quests that I'm like, there's no way this is better. I'm good. I'm just moving on.
Yeah. And like, it seems like at some point you're probably just going to be modding and like doing crafting stuff to make like what weapons you want or are spec'd into better. So yeah, I guess it makes sense to not pick up every single submachine gun that every bandit or whatever has, and then you have 20 of them, and then you can't breathe properly because you breathe too hard when you move.
Yeah, when you walk, so you have to like walk slowly. That was a bummer with the ending of the UC Vanguard one. Is I got to a fight, but I was like pretty encumbered. No, what happened is I got frostbite. And I had none of the things that fixed frostbite, so it meant every time I was not like crawling, I was losing oxygen. So I was like, okay, I have to do a boss fight where all I can do is crawl. And that one specifically is like, hey, we need you to get to these 4 stations on the battlefield and do something while you're fighting. And it's like, okay, well, let's see how this goes.
Yeah. Like, there is a time and place that I will enjoy my time with this. It is not now. So I'm just shelving it for now.
All right, then with that, let's do some news. Interesting week for news for sure, but let's start with this one you dropped here. I don't know what it is.
Oh, this I just saw today. So Fables, for people maybe who only know from video games we talk about, like what Fables would be. It's the Wolf Among Us main property.
Telltale Adventure. Yep.
The creator of Fables, Bill Willingham, released Fables into the public domain because he got pissed off with, I guess, some like problems with copywriting or whatever, and didn't have the money to sue DC. So he just decided to put his shit out for anybody to do whatever they want with it. So Fables is now out for people to do whatever they want. So that's kind of interesting to me, that whole world and those characters. Yeah. There is a big thing where it says like the first question is, why did you do this? And then he gives like, I don't know, maybe a 5-minute read of an answer. So I didn't read through all of it.
But it keeps going. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. I just thought that was interesting. Obviously, this doesn't mean anything about like The Wolf Among Us 2 or whatever. Like, there is still obviously deals behind those and IP things going on with those. But I mean, maybe we'll start seeing some indie developers try some cool things, or like short films or something.
I was gonna say, it doesn't really stop anything from happening. It won't like stop any ongoing stuff.
No.
If anything, it's just gonna have more stuff come in from like other people.
Yeah.
And it just will mean that like DC can't get like direct revenue from everything with its name on it.
Yeah. I just thought that was interesting and wanted to bring it up here because you and I talked about that.
Yeah.
That thing. So. And we're probably both going to play that second one.
Oh, I definitely am, for sure, yeah. Okay, another short one before we get into the real news. Hades 2 has been announced over at the Supergiant Games' blog. It is going to be going into early access in Q2 of 2024.
Cool.
I don't know if I knew they were doing early access again, but it went so well for them. Why wouldn't they?
Totally. I remember when Hades came out, I played early access for maybe like 2 hours, like a couple runs or whatever, and then put it down until it fully came out, and I'm so glad I did. So I'm going to do the same with this, probably.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely. All right, this next one I want you to take the lead because you got like deep on it, but the gist of it is actually you just take it away. This is your baby.
All right, so this is the Unity thing. I guess if like people follow me on socials, they probably got absolutely bombarded the last 48 hours or so with a lot of retweets and tweeting.
Yeah, I had to mute you. No, I'm kidding.
That's fair. Honestly, it's fair. That's why I made a thread just the other night of like, okay, this is where all of this shit is going to go, so you can mute the thread if you need to. Unity, which is one of the biggest game engines and other associated things with that companies, decided that they were going to put forth a fee. I can't remember the runtime fee, which essentially is they're wanting to charge a certain amount of money for every amount of installs a game using their engine has after a threshold is met. At first, this doesn't necessarily sound crazy until you start talking about demos and apparently, so there was a lot of muddy waters when they announced this, where people were asking them for comment on, does this include demos? Does this include early access builds? Does this include you buying a game, installing it, uninstalling it, and reinstalling it? And they said yes to everything first of all.
I think the big thing was they wanted to get a kickback on every install, which is odd. Typically, a lot of these deals for game engines, it'll be like a licensing fee of like you pay the yearly subscription or whatever, you can use it, or you pay a like percentage of your revenue back to them.
Yeah.
But this was becoming a blanket like per install. So I'll just read this one paragraph I have lit up here, and it's worth knowing that Unity has like tiers that you can be a part of, and some of them are things like, hey, if you use Unity, it costs this much. If you use Unity and show the logo at the beginning of like when you launch a game, it'll be a little less because you're also advertising for us, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, Unity Personal and Unity Plus devs have to pay 20 cents for every game installed past their subscription specific threshold.
Right.
Unity Pro devs will have to fork over between 2 cents and 15 cents for every install past theirs, and Unity Enterprise devs costs range from 1 to 12.5 cents. Okay, I didn't know it was getting that granular.
Yeah.
Developers in emerging markets will have lower cost per install plus their threshold, but it came down to like the per install, and they were even using terms like if someone installs it twice, that's two installs.
That's 2 installs.
Even though you're one person, so like if you uninstall it, reinstall it. If you install it on a different platform, that's another one. What it really seemed like was because one example that was getting brought up a lot was Vampire Survivors, which is made in Unity.
Oh yeah,
but Vampire Survivors, it costs very little. They're selling it for a very cheap price.
Yeah.
So if you think about Unity, let's the typical thing would have been a percentage. Let's say I'm just making numbers out of my head here. 10% of your sales is going to go to Unity if you use it. That's not true, but again, here's just a hypothetical.
Yeah.
10% is not going to be very, very much, especially if your game is bigger. But if you're selling your game for very little, you're going to get a very small amount from them. But things like Vampire Survivors is selling a ton. So Unity looks at that and goes, how come this game that's in our engine that is selling so much, why are we getting such little money from them? Well, it's because they're only selling it for $3 or $5. Versus if they pay this like per install one, it doesn't matter how much they're selling their game for, they're getting the same amount of money no matter what.
Yeah. So using Vampire Survivors, I just did a quick Google. One of the rough estimates of it on Steam is 19 million copies of it sold. So let's say every copy sold for $1 and everybody installed it once. That dev now owes 3.8 million in just fees.
Right, and that's just like one install. Like
that's one install.
Look at me, for example. I've installed Vampire Survivors on like 3 different systems.
Yeah. So
Game Pass was another one because
Game Pass was big.
You are installing it, even though you're not even. So it now I saw the Aggro Crabs developer talk about this. You know, they've made a deal with Microsoft where it's like Microsoft's going to give them a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. They are now going to lose a chunk of that money just because people are going to install their game, as opposed to before where they would not have lost that chunk of money because the install didn't matter. It was just, here's our percentage Unity that we've agreed upon for, making X amount of dollars.
I think an important thing that came up too from a bunch of people. So I've been reading a bunch of, I'm not an indie dev. I don't know if you know this about me. I game hard, but I don't make them. So I've been reading a lot of what like people who do that shit and like business insiders and some lawyers who finally started speaking up about what they thought about this stuff, because I kind of have no idea. I just knew that it felt gross. Most devs are saying, so first of all, this fee will just be straight up, the threshold will be straight up how much the game makes. But obviously, as any game dev studio or person has, like, if it makes like $100,000, they might actually just make, let's say, like 30,000 profit or something, because a lot of that money goes into sustaining things that they need, like their lives first of all, or like stuff to make the game, like business expenses or whatever,
health insurance,
everything,
stuff like that. Like things, it's not going right into your pocket. You have to run a business. Yeah,
right. So that threshold is on how much is sold, period. Even though, like, if a game sells $1 million worth, that dev didn't just make $1 million. They probably made like a decent amount of like 100,000s or something, right? So automatically you're cutting into their profits. This is just another thing they have to expense for, which is terrible. But also the thing that's scary is that nobody knows how they're going to even implement this, including Unity themselves right now. And that's where I started getting really weirded out by this, because people are saying like, well, I was reading Unity, I'm guessing like lower level people saying, we don't put like trackers in the installers or anything, or at least yet. So they don't know how they're even going to figure this stuff out, because as far as they know, Unity doesn't have any way to actually track this currently. So that seems weird to me.
It's weird. Yeah, I didn't know about that, but that makes sense.
And there was also some news that they are partnering with a company that is well known for making the installer wrappers for malware. So how this was explained is, if you've ever been to a site that's like, click here now for like this PNG or whatever, and then you click on it, if you install, it'll bring up a thing that's like, install this like picture, and you click on it and it's malware. This company that they're partnering with apparently is the one who are the ones who made the tech to like get that installer to like whoever. So not necessarily they're bad people, but their stuff is used to like root things into your PC. Like they make that sort of tech. So they're partnering with those type of people, which leads me to infer that they're probably going to like push a Unity update that everything using the engine from like this version onwards is going to automatically have this thing in it, and it's probably going to update every version that's already out there or whatever. So I don't know if like there's no more news on that, because I'm still kind of, this is kind of new, what's happening. This is only about a couple days old, so I'm still following things kind of regularly and trying to live my life like a normal human being at the same time. But that was scary to me, because it sets this weird precedence of when are we going to start allowing people to just charge creators for creating things, I guess. And there's been a few people on the other side. I think the biggest one right now is Notch, if you remember that guy, has basically been saying like, this is why you shouldn't trust other companies to make games, just make your own engine, forehead, which is like weird to me. It's a weird, like, I get where he's coming from, where it's like, this is what happens when you have to rely on other people, but not everybody that's an indie dev has like the skill, time, or talent to maybe make a thing from scratch completely.
For sure. Yeah.
So
No.
yeah.
Well, I was seeing a lot of devs come out because, you know, the first question you're thinking is like, why don't these devs just stop using Unity? And
Yeah.
some of them are saying like, hey, like I'm 5 years into developing a game on Unity.
That's the thing. Yep.
It's, you know, it's the only engine I know.
Yep.
Even if it's not the only engine you know, you can't just like hit the export to Unreal button. That doesn't exist.
Right.
And engines work differently. That's why, you know, developers make their own engines. That's why developers typically stick with an engine and they don't just port it somewhere else, because they know how to work in that engine. It's not just so easy to swap over. And
Totally.
if you're like 4 years into it, you're almost starting over because you're about to like introduce a whole bunch of bugs.
Yeah.
These things are not just going to work one to one.
No, for sure.
And what's crazy is the like the breach of trust here. Like I couldn't imagine being a developer, having worked with Unity for, you know, 4 whatever years, and then all of a sudden they're switching this and I'm just stuck. Like they just completely like shafted me, and there's like nothing I can do if other than, do I start over the whole dev cycle?
Yeah.
Or, you know, they probably, that's going to push your milestones back so much.
And to be fair, there are a decent amount of people saying, yeah, that's what we're doing. Don't expect our new game for another fucking 3 years because of this. That's what some are doing.
Yeah, you have to imagine there are some that just cannot do that.
For
like,
sure.
They're just like, no, we budgeted out this much. We needed some revenue to start coming in at this point, because that's when the money runs out.
For sure. Yep.
I'm surprised Unity, with all the backlash, I'm surprised Unity hasn't come up and said anything yet. In fact, I've just kind of seen them like double downing on stuff, which is pretty crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if they turned it around with how bad this is looking on them. But
so my theory originally was, this is a pretty standard tactic where if you want to implement a thing that's going to be problematic, you talk about something that's way worse, and then you dial it back and make it look like the thing you actually wanted to get, the goalpost you wanted to get to, is closer to people's interest than the like weird random shit that you actually were talking about. Because then people think that like we made some headway and we're compromising now, when really there was no compromise. It's just PR bullshit. I was thinking, and I think a lot of people have been thinking that's what they're doing here, but it's really weird that they haven't. Yeah, they just keep doubling down. So I'm starting to think, nah, maybe they're just going with this. Actually, maybe this wasn't a ploy. This is what they're doing.
It's pretty bizarre.
It's crazy.
Like I said, I think the next week is going to be pretty interesting. I'm curious to see kind of how this all does play out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts.
There's been a few. So there's been a lot of indie devs talking about or putting out statements or whatever. There's been a few that have been particularly interesting to me. The first of which is, I believe it's Cult of the Lamb. They just put out a thing saying, if you ever want to play our game, buy it now because it's not going to exist in like 3 months. We're taking it down January 1st. So that was a kind of big game. I won't say it was huge, but
sure.
that was a pretty big one. Mega Crit, though, the people who did Slay the Spire, put out a particularly interesting one where I'm just going to paraphrase it rather than read it. They said that they've been working on a new game, a follow-up, for 2.5 years. They didn't announce anything, and they never put out like a statement like this, but they fucked up so badly that they had to basically make a statement, not only announcing that they're working on something, but now that it's going to be delayed, and this is the first time they've ever put out a statement. I think their last line is literally like, we've never made a public statement like this before. Yeah. That's how bad you fucked up. So
saw that.
Yeah, there's been a few of one of them was just fuck John, what is it, Riccatello or whatever. Like one was literally just like fuck him or something, and I found that really funny. But
the CEO of Unity, which I guess was over at EA at one point.
Yeah, he also last year said game developers are artards. So he's a real stand-up cool guy, basically.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, we'll keep touching on Unity when more things kind of develop in the coming weeks. Yeah. Did you watch either of the live streams today?
I watched both of them.
All right, well, let's start with Nintendo. There was a Direct this morning.
Yeah.
I got a list that is not in the order they showed stuff, but I'm assuming this is supposed to be in the order of noteworthiness. But what? Let's go through what jumped out at you.
So the first thing they showed, I was actually super interested. The Mario versus Donkey Kong thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I like little puzzly games. I thought it was cute. I'm totally in. I'm into that.
Yeah, I never played those ones. I thought this now sounds like a great time to get into it. I wish it was like out right now. It seems like the scale would have been perfect for those, and it's available right now. But no, it's coming out February, which is probably for the best because I don't need another game coming out right now.
Yeah.
F-Zero 99.
This was interesting. Yeah, I'm into it. I'm down. I installed it.
Yeah. I'm not a huge F-Zero person. I'll probably give this a try if I do still have that subscription going.
Yeah.
But it is exactly what you expect. 99 racers, they're bumping into each other, and you just got to try and survive the longest.
Yep. I'm into it. It seems fun. I thought the Princess Peach Showtime thing looked pretty cute. I was kind of into it.
Yeah, I think this looks great. I want to play this a whole bunch. This is coming March 22nd. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, it looked good. I'm just going based on their list here. Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remasters. I've been actually wanting to revisit those games for the last couple of years, and I just haven't. This seems like a good way to do it. So when that comes out, I might take a look at it if I'm not too busy.
I'm now scrolling down to ones that I'm interested in. Another Code Recollection announced, which, as someone in North America, I know this as the Trace Memory games on the DS. I believe another Code was like the European name that they stuck with.
Yeah.
I was like just looking like a month ago. I don't even know if I was talking to you guys while we were doing this. I may have been offline. I was looking at these DS games. And I was like, I should just buy them. I've always been super interested.
Wow.
Hey, now they're doing an update. I remember these didn't get great reviews. Not that I know what the problems were, but maybe I'll get lucky and they'll fix whatever was the issue with some of these. So this is coming January 19th, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Unicorn Overlord has one of the worst names I think I've heard in a while. I hate that name, but I really like Vanillaware, and even though I don't necessarily just am dying for a tactics RPG, that might be one I check out because Vanillaware usually does some interesting stuff with their games. So I'm kind of into that maybe.
There was some obvious stuff that I'm looking forward to, like the new Paper Mario, sure, the Mario RPG.
Right.
Yes, Dave the Diver. I've heard really great things on Steam.
Yep.
So that looks good too. Nintendo Museum. Hey, if I'm in Kyoto again, I'm absolutely gonna go to a Nintendo Museum.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself because this is opening in March or whatever. I was thinking maybe April, like maybe go to Japan again because that's a good time to go. Yeah, that'd be cool.
You any other standouts for you before we move on?
You played the Eiyuden Chronicles or whatever, right? That weird prologue thing. Was that a year ago?
Yeah, sometime.
I remember
early this year or last year. Was that shown on this?
No, the like follow up to it or whatever. The like new
the full game.
Yeah. Or
is that shown on this?
Yeah. Is that game worth like looking into?
It's okay. I mean, Eiyuden Chronicle. I don't see it in this list. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I do. It's on Game Pass.
Oh, okay.
So like,
yeah,
you just try that game out, and it's not exactly short. The like prequel, like I think it was close to 8 hours almost.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of crazy. Okay. Yeah, I was just interested if that should be on your list. And then of course Prince of Persia. I just want to play that game.
Yeah. Absolutely. State of Play. So we had Sony doing a stream as well, 2 in 1 day. This one, I'm gonna be honest, I was moving a lot of TVs around at this time, so I just kind of had it on in like my headphones in the background, so I could have missed some stuff. But hey, they showed more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yep.
That game looks weird as all hell. They're on segways at one point.
Yep.
Okay.
It looks great. I'm excited. This made me excited for Helldivers 2, because that game looks like Lost Planet multiplayer mode, and that's great because Helldivers 1, in case people don't know, is a top-down, almost RTS tactics like game, and this is a third-person action game where you are at least fighting, at some point, fighting a big monster with a bunch of other people. Looks great.
I thought it was almost laughable that they showed more Spider-Man stuff. I even said to myself before this, like, I hope they don't show Spider-Man. That thing is out in like a month, less than a month. Like, we have seen Spider-Man so many times. They don't need to show anything else. They showed more Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah, I think my comment was literally like, I don't fucking care. I just want to play it. I don't want to watch it. Like,
my thoughts are more like, do you have nothing else to show? Like, you need to show Spider-Man again?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yes, I'm with you. Like, I don't need to see it. I'm good. Like, let's just bring it out.
We're in. Like, we're in, dude. Just release it. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I was thinking, like, I haven't played a Far Cry in a while. I'll play Far Cry on Pandora. That seems okay. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I hope it's good for you. I'm probably not going to play this unless
it looks fun.
Like amazing reviews.
I doubt that.
Tales of Arise getting an expansion November. I don't know if any of the Tales games have ever gotten like DLC at this level, and I quite enjoyed Arise, so I'm absolutely excited for this.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I want to play Foam Stars, so that was cool that they're like a beta is happening in like 2 weeks or something, a week, I guess.
Foam Stars is definitely interesting. That was a cool thing at a Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And then of course Resident Evil 4's DLC. Yeah, it looks like more Resident Evil 4, so, and I'm interested in it. It's kind of weird that it's coming out so soon, but yeah, whatever. I don't know why nobody releases horror things in October anymore, but what do I know?
Last one that jumps out at me is I still think Baby Steps looks funny.
I thought the jokes in that trailer were good. That gameplay looks fucking horrible, and I'm not going to play it. But it looks
that's
fun.
The point. It's supposed to be horrible, but I do think the jokes are funny.
Yeah, just use your what the hell?
Let's use my grappling hook. Yeah,
grappling hook. Yeah,
I'll get right on that for sure. Yep.
It's pretty.
I think it's got a good sense of humor.
Yep.
I'm hoping, like, I'll try it and I'll get as far as I can, and if I can't get very far, I'm gonna watch a YouTube video of like funniest moments.
Right. I don't know. That's just the part that annoys me because it's like this is just YouTube/streamer bait, and there's something about that annoys me. That's why I didn't like Goat Sim either.
No, I get that, but I don't know. Actually, Goat Sim does think there's some funny parts to it, but I just want to see like the dialogue and those kind of jokes for sure.
Yeah, the writing was actually weirdly good in that trailer, so yeah, yep. I agree.
And then this last news story, Immortals of Avium Studio, Descendant is that they're called. They were under EA, has laid off nearly half of its staff just weeks after releasing the game. Around 40 people were laid off. The studio was somewhere around 80 to 100 people. And one of the citing reasons was the performance, which I did hear this thing was not selling well whatsoever. So that is a bummer to hear about, because I do think that game deserves better.
So I think it looked fine. I think if maybe it released on a slower year at a better time, like it might have even gotten way more talk in general.
Sure. So there's a rough moment for sure. Like, again, why would people put games out right now?
I feel like from what I've heard, they wasted a lot of money though, because they paid a lot of sponsorship dollars to streamers and YouTubers, like a crazy amount. So that seems, okay. I don't know, that like it just seems unfortunate that they tried so hard to get it out there and just nothing worked. So
I mean, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they put a bunch into marketing because they know this is a new IP. Like, we need to get this in front of people because there is no name recognition. So we need to devote a lot onto the marketing side.
It's just every time I heard like streamers talk to each other, like big streamers talk to each other and say, like, I have a 4-hour sponsorship for them, and people would be like, 4 hours? What the fuck? Who has that sort of money to pay a streamer 4 hours or whatever for this stuff? And it's like, oh, okay. So
I can see it though, because like I do think the gameplay is good, and I think it looks good. Like, so it's just like they needed to like get it in front of people.
Yeah, I guess people just didn't care. It's too bad.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that does it for news. Let's go through some questions. topdownperspective@gmail.com is the email address, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. This first one comes from a Hive. You are tasked with designing a 2D fighting game. To make the game stand out, you are told that you can't implement blocking or parrying. You now have to come up with a replacement mechanic that will feel just as useful, balanced, and intuitive.
I would argue parrying in 2D games is not intuitive. That's when you're down the rabbit hole. That's when you start learning about parrying, but casuals don't know about that at all. But anyways.
All I can think is dodging.
Yeah, so can we just say that? Because like a lot of 3D fighters or whatever, they use being able to like go in the background or foreground or turn. So just kind of a similar mechanic in 2D where I guess you just dodge. Because what else do you do?
Like, yeah, you need to somehow like avoid the damage, right? Somehow.
Yeah.
You can't block or parry.
You could go the rally mode of like Bloodborne, where you take damage, but it doesn't take your health bar down right away. Like if you return damage, you can heal yourself up a certain amount.
Oh, is that Bloodborne? Lies of P does that.
Yeah, of course, because Lies of P is Bloodborne.
Well, I didn't play Bloodborne, so I don't know.
No, that's why. That's why I was excited, because it's like, oh, if you like Lies of P, you just opened up like a whole world of games you could play, because there's a bunch like that. But yeah, no, that could be kind of interesting, where you can't block or parry or dodge or whatever, but any damage you take in a certain time, like if you are able to kind of counter and go on the offensive, you can heal that amount. That could be interesting.
Like some fighting games have done that.
Something similar, yeah.
Yeah, I think games have done. Did Dragon Ball FighterZ have that? Maybe.
I don't remember. It's been a long time.
I want to say some fighting games have definitely done that for sure.
Yeah.
Then again, like I'm even thinking with like the dodge, it would be almost identical to like parrying. Just you need to hit this button at the right time, and you won't take damage.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe if the dodge like moved you significantly, like every time you dodged, you ended up on the other side, so it would end up with a lot of people like swapping positions, and there would be almost this kind of cool dance happening. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool, actually. Yeah. Matthew writes, my university's food court has Qdoba, where you order your food through a kiosk. I discovered it's possible to order a bowl of nothing by ordering a burrito bowl with no meat, rice, or toppings. What's the craziest thing you've ordered at a restaurant? That's funny.
Trying to think, we had at the office some startup brought like a food vending machine robot into the office to like show it off to us.
Yeah.
And it made salads. And I was like, is there a way I could have just the meat from the salad? Like, can I order a salad and then remove everything except the chicken? And the people were like, I don't know. We could try. And it worked out. I got a bowl of chicken.
Okay.
That was pretty silly.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done anything like that.
What's similar between the two scenarios we've presented at this point is we didn't have to actually interact with a human. Like ask somebody in like a professional manner of like, can you please make this garbage meal that I'm about to construct? Because that's embarrassing. I had to just talk to a robot, and so did this person.
Sure. Well, I mean, somebody made his thing. He just ordered it through a kiosk. Yours was literally made by a robot.
Oh, okay. But I mean, yeah. Okay. There's still like he didn't have to like face somebody and say the embarrassing thing to them.
So, yes. I don't actually remember the last time I ordered something through fast food without an app or a kiosk. So but I just order what they have. I don't like make any weird amendments and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm trying to think. Last time I went into like I think the only time I go into fast food places is when I'm like road tripping, and it's like, this is the only way I'm going to get food at this Subway that's also a gas station.
I have one, but it wasn't me. For a while, my friend was pretending he was a vegetarian. Like, this was years and years ago when I was
What do you mean pretending?
Because he like was trying to be a vegetarian, but he still ate meat every now and then. So it's like, you're not a vegetarian. Anyways,
yeah.
While he was like trying it out or whatever, this was 16 or 17 years old, he would sometimes go, this was before kiosk, so he had to ask for this shit, and it was embarrassing every time, to like a McDonald's and would ask for a cheeseburger without the meat. And so it was,
I did that growing up. My mom,
sort
of hijacked the thing. My mom was like, I guess there was like a bunch of E. coli outbreaks in McDonald's a while back. She read about somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
So until I was like 10, whenever I would go to McDonald's, she would be ordering my sister and I cheeseburgers with no meat.
Okay.
And they were basically just like grilled cheese sandwiches at that point because they're so warm.
This is what he said as well. He's like, I like the bun and the cheese. So it's basically just like a shitty grilled cheese sandwich. I'm like, okay, fair enough, I guess. But that's the closest answer.
I did that for the longest time. And I remember eventually when I was like, 10 years old, I said, can I order like a hamburger? And she was like, okay, I guess it's fine. And we never had to go back.
Okay. Fair enough.
Dead writes, years ago on the podcast, Sean gave some house advice when answering a question which included making it a weekly routine to clean your toilet, potentially Saturday morning, because it could get disgusting fast. Was that advice more about keeping a routine, or was there some inciting incident which made you more aware of the state of your toilet?
Oh.
I don't know how long. I don't remember. Well, one, I don't remember doing this question. Two, I don't think there's an inciting incident because I would probably have remembered that.
Yeah.
It was most likely just something where I was like, I could imagine this getting bad fast, and I don't want to end up there. And I'm pretty good at sticking to routines. So
yeah, you're definitely a creature of routine. So that makes sense. Yeah. Lineback writes, which character from The Simpsons would you want as a guest on TDP? From The Simpsons.
I mean, I guess the easy answer is Angry Nerd, right? Comic book guy.
So
comic book guy is
that is 100% the first person that popped in my mind, and I did want to say it because it felt easy. But yes, totally.
It's the easy answer, but it's like, would we enjoy having him on? It depends, like, how much of like a dick he is.
Yeah, true. Is
But
there
I feel like even comic book guy can be pleasant if you're like talking about something he's into. Well, I don't even know because apparently he's into comics, but he seems to be like he almost acts like he hates comic books too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be worse because he's a condescending dick then. He's just like that elitist dirtbag attitude, which I hate.
Right. Could we set it up in a scenario though where we know like, oh, he's actually really into hypothetically the Spider-Man video games.
Oh yeah,
So
okay.
could we almost set it so it's like he can't be condescending about this because he's actually like a total fan about these. So we'll just bring him on for an episode about that.
What about the nerds from Simpsons? There was like the group of like 3 of them or whatever. I think their first one is where Homer goes to college.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Like, I don't remember them being much of characters other than like they're nerdy guys. One might have a lisp.
So
It's been a long time since I've watched any Simpsons.
One's name is Gary. The others are Benjamin and Doug, and apparently they're roommates.
Yeah, do they have actual like characters, or do they just like they're like D-list characters that show up in the backgrounds sometimes?
They're in like 20 episodes, so they have enough there that they could be like considered C-list, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess D-list because like 20 episodes in like 30 years is still nothing.
Yeah. Well, like my point is like, is there an actual character there, or like, do we know so little about them that it's almost like just picking a blank slate, and that's not an interesting answer.
All 3 of them have a Wikipedia page. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, no, I think it's a pretty much just stereotype of nerds for nerdy jokes.
I'm trying to think if would there be anyone that's like to have interesting on. I think what might make this a little better is instead of just having them on, we almost do it like a TDP Plus where they had to play the game for the month.
Sure.
And then we bring them on.
Okay.
And then I think that's kind of an interesting thought experiment because like Ned.
Yeah. Playing anything basically.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be like a game that's like totally opposite their character or whatever. Just like I just want to make sure that they have some knowledge and they're not just like sitting in and trying to talk about something that they don't really know about or like hearing the game news. So I think it'd be better if it's like, hey, this whole week we're gonna play, Lies of P, and then we're gonna talk about it with Ned Flanders.
That would be pretty great. Yeah, that would be pretty great. I think my answer just in general though is Homer because he would probably at least say something funny at some point.
Sure.
And also, he's probably the one that like if you put featuring Homer from The Simpsons would get more clicks than maybe anybody else from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
He seems like the famous one.
Suku writes, what comes to mind first when I say the acronym AC?
Air conditioning.
Animal Crossing.
Okay. What about second?
Assassin's Creed.
Okay. Mine's Air Canada, just because work.
Air Canada will never be on my like short list.
No, of course not. But you also don't spend 40 hours a week like with acronyms from the airport.
Yep.
VGC Kenny writes, any images or words on the shirt you're wearing right now become tattoos on your body where they're on your shirt. Do you like it? No?
I'm wearing a blank shirt, so it's fine, but also no. I'm trying to think like any of the shirts that have stuff on them, it would be like right on the chest.
Yeah.
And like I would almost rather like a tattoo almost anywhere other than right in front of my chest.
Totally, yeah.
Phantom Aegis, do you like having a filling inside chocolates? If so, what's your favorite kind of filling?
Yeah. I like those like Ferrero Rochers, whatever. At Christmas time, they usually have like a hazelnut cream type thing inside them.
Yep.
I like
Ferrero
those.
Rocher's great.
Peanut butter. I like Reese's.
Peanut butter's fine. Yeah, caramel's good. I'm not a big fan of like fruit.
Yeah, me neither, really. Or alcohol. I don't like those like liqueur chocolates.
Taste terrible.
Yeah.
Cream is great. I almost prefer, when it comes to the fruit, I almost prefer like the fake fruit, like a Terry's chocolate orange over, or like a Terry's chocolate strawberry over like, hey, here's like a chocolate dipped strawberry.
So if you got like one of those like pot of golds or whatever, sometimes they have like a fake strawberry flavored like filling thing.
I would
That would be
prefer
okay.
that over a chocolate dipped strawberry. But now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, those pot of golds, they'll come with like a cherry one, and I never like the cherry ones.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Fair.
most kind of like, yeah, if it's like jam, I'm not a big fan of the ones that have like jam in them.
Sure.
Either.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Creams
get it.
are good though. I like the creams for sure.
Mm-hmm. Final. Oh no, not final question. Well, maybe final question because the other is a game. From Ace Viru. Do you know the biggest scam ever? The food pyramid. That's right. This week we're forgetting about genies and going straight for the jugular. Time to set the record straight. What is TDP's seal of approval food pyramid? You know, except instead of food, it's games. And instead of a daily intake, it's weekly intake. And instead of being misleading, it's probably biased. Oh, and I guess instead of servings, it's playtime. Okay. Game pyramid for weekly nutrition.
So like a weekly, yeah, you have to do this every week for like a healthy game diet.
I think you need a puzzle of some sort or something to keep your mind active for a little bit if you're going to be gaming a bunch. That could be a bunch of stuff.
I think you need a visual novel before bed. Something to wind down.
Can we Oh, I see. Wind down. I was going to say, can we compromise and say any game with like a really good, interesting story? But I see what you mean now as like a book to wind down with at the end of the night.
No, yeah, it needs to be book adjacent.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I think you need less specifically, I think something with a good story to keep you engaged in would be good that you can pick.
But I don't want it to be like fast action before bed. Like, plenty of...
No, I mean, but every week you should, if you're playing a bunch of games, you probably want one where like you're really into the writing and the characters.
I think you need a weekly party game for you and your friends.
Agreed. Multiplayer something or other, for sure. A party game would be best. Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking more for me, I need a multiplayer game that is super like low stakes. It is basically just me chatting with my friends and we're doing something with our hands. This can be like a Fortnite, an Overwatch, an Apex.
I need something bleak. It's just something I like. Like it can be part
just
of
to humble yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it could be part of the game. It could be like one of the games that has like really good story or something or whatever. But I need something where I just feel better about living in my life after playing it. Feels good, man. Feels good.
All right, and this last one comes from Rasterman, is a quiz for us. I'll read it off to you. The answers are still hidden for me, so I can play along as well.
Okay.
Can you guess the games these Steam reviews were made for?
Oh, no. Okay.
I think this is going... Hang on. This is going to be probably impossible. Anyway,
sure, yeah.
First one here. The quote is...
Yeah.
It's cheaper than meth, but will ruin your life just the same. This is any game.
Steam review. Okay, so something... I'm going to say Vampire Survivors. I'm going to say something addictive.
That's a good answer. I guess I'll go Vampire Survivors. These answers are all like very long, so I don't know how they could be just one game title.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so sorry. So they're game titles, and then they linked... Did they link like to the review itself? Okay, so... They did, just to make sure like we didn't think they were cheating.
Okay.
So this review comes in from Lil Thickburger.
Oh my god, that's such a good name. For what is it?
Destiny 2.
Okay. Sure.
Like I said, I think these are okay. Next one. This is all caps.
Yeah.
Yo, this game is Minecraft minus the... And this last word is MINEC. So minus the Minec.
Minus
that would
the
leave
Minec?
that would leave Raft.
Oh. Yeah, it's Raft. You're right. Holy shit, good pull.
Is that a game? Is Raft a
yeah.
game?
And it's basic. It's a survival game.
I've never heard of this game, but yes. Oh, I have seen this. Okay, yeah, it's Raft.
Wow, what a good pull.
Okay, but so that's not even a review. It's literally an observation.
Yeah, but it's Minecraft without the mining or the
That's not a review.
Yeah. Well, it's Minecraft. That's the review. So, if you like Minecraft, I guess, then you'll like it.
Okay. Let a baby roast in flames, period, new sentence. Rewarded with Minecraft, period, new sentence, 10 out of 10.
There's so few games where you can kill children or babies, so I don't know.
That's got to be a crafting game, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's rewarded with Minecraft. So it's like or a survival game maybe with crafting elements.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
I don't. What?
What's it?
This is the Stanley Parable.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay. Fine. I mean,
there's 4 comments on this review. I can read them to you real quick.
Yeah, please.
Let me do it in a chronological order.
Yes.
This first one from Mop It Up said, and Portal.
Mop It Up.
This next one from A Peculiar Feline, and memories of more amazing games. Okay,
what?
This next one, it's not reward, it's punishment. I also did not put the apostrophes there. Seriously, who likes Minecraft? And then this last one is also Portal.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. This next one from Resterman. I wish Japan was real.
Fuck.
I feel like I've heard this before, like in a different context.
Yeah, this could be a bunch of stuff, probably. I don't know. I can't even guess.
Yakuza Like a Dragon.
That's your guess, or that's the answer?
That's the answer, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be able to guess any of these. These are impossible. Here's the last one.
Yeah.
It's a game about how our parents went to school back then.
There's no way that's like Persona, right? What are some other games with schools?
That's a school one. Okay, that's good.
If I just say Persona, can we count that as like 2, 3, 4, like whatever?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's see what the answer is. This is Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Uphill both ways,
totally.
I guess. That's the joke here.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good joke.
That's a good pull, actually. That's a good pull.
This game is absolutely impossible. Thank you for writing in. Thanks everyone for writing in. Topdownperspective@gmail.com is the email address, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What is your game of the week?
Void Stranger.
I'm going to give it to Liza P.
Nice.
We'll be back next week. See you guys later.
Bye.